person that has led the realm for the past 2 years, and practically at this time is winding or counting down his time to hand over the baton to the next person. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Stock Building. He is in the person of Builder Adelaja Adekombi, Chairman Nigerian Stock Building, welcoming him to the high table as the chief host of today's event. I will also be welcoming a very important figure in the institute, the strong woman of our time, the one that has taught so many people and even still teaching, and the emeritus of, for that matter. No other person other than Builder Bolanle Araba, with all humility, man. You're welcome to the high table, man. Actually, I would have welcomed or invite the following people, but they are right on their way. One of them is coming from outside of Lagos. He is the #1 builder in the whole country. While we are in Lagos, the person is a builder, Kunle Awobodu, fellow of the Nigerian Stock Building. He's the current national president, the brand new president for that matter. I know he will join us very soon, because he has called and he said he's stuck in traffic. And somebody also is coming all the way from Abuja. That's the person that calls the shots when it comes to the regulation of building practice in Nigeria. He has made it, he has confirmed on good authority that he's flying in today. I guess he should be in Lagos right now. He's just trying to make his way down. He's already nearby, I can tell you. Because this is the largest gathering of builders, so you can't expect anything less than this. He is the current chairman, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria. He's a professor of building. He's Builder Kabiru Bala, FNIOB as well. I'm very sure he's like some few minutes away from here. So why just notifying us or whetting our appetites about those people? I will go ahead. Sorry. We should keep clapping. Clap for the fact that she has made it all the way earlier than any of us. Clap for the fact that we respect the building profession so much that she has decided to make this occasion amongst even every other activity. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. We got to have our seat. Isn't it just funny that my chairman is sitting in the midst of two powerful women of our time? I know at this point my chairman is well covered. Okay, we will move to the next program on the list. I think I'm working with the program, page 23 on the program, so you can walk. Okay, we have 5 signatures. One at the very end. There are some lined up on the wall as well. Those as well. So you are well covered. Thank you very much. With all due respect from the item. builders anthem. do the opening prayer with the second stanza of the national anthem. I think for that one we will have to recite it as well. It's on page 1, the second stanza of the national anthem. 1, 2, go. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. So help us God. Amen. Thank you everybody for standing up. We can have our seat right now. Odu, FNIOB, the man of our time, fresh, brand new builder, all the way from Lagos. I mean, Lagos has produced the current builder of our time. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Right on page 23. And I will be chairman welcome address as well. Then afterwards we'll have the NIOB president welcome address. And we'll take it off from there. After everybody has made their welcome address, then the chairman of the conference will now give the keynote address as well. So thank you very much. I welcome
for keeping you so late. The chairman on this occasion, the SA Special Advisor to the Executive Governor of Lagos State on Works and Infrastructure, Builder Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, my President, the President of the NIOB, Builder Kunle Awobodu, the Chairman of the State Chapter, Builder Adelaja Adekanmi, the Chairman, College of Fellows, Builder Mrs. Abimbola Araba, other State Chairmen present this morning, the elders and the other escorts of the State Chapter, the gentlemen of the press and gentlewomen, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Executive Committee and members and staff of Nigerian Institute of Building Lagos State Chapter, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this auspicious event, the 28th Lagos Builders Conference and Annual General Meeting. The Lagos State Chapter aptly tagged the Chapters of Excellence, being the trailblazer in the building production, management and building construction activity within Lagos State and Nigeria built environment. Built environment in the entirety have come at this critical period when the construction industry is on the pathway to recovery and stabilization from the extant economic recession that retarded our growth over the years. This year's theme, which rallies around procurement, is germane to the industry development and growth. The theme, appropriate procurement method ensuring effective building production, and its various sub-themes, has come at such a time when the builders in the Chapter of Excellence and Nigeria at large need to align ourselves with procurement method to enable us effectively manage and enforce our value and time-tested building production processes according to the best global ethics and professional competence. One of such area of professional competence that the industry has not fully considered during procurement is health, safety and environment. In our industry, many clients opine that such HSE consideration increases the project cost, but what they have failed to grasp is the attendant cost of accident on site should it occur. And such accident could mar the project in such magnitude as to make it completely unfeasible. This realization of the impact and the importance of HSE informed NIOB Lagos State Chapter to collaborate with the Institute of Occupational Health and Safety, IOSH, United Kingdom, to raise the standard of our members in the area of health and safety through training, which will assist them during project procurement and production processes. Thus, we realize there is no better time than now to discuss such a salient issue like procurement in Nigeria building industry, when costing has become critical because of the lean resources, high cost of importation of building materials, rising inflation index on building resources, production, and general economic hardship. That is reduction in business activity. that impact negatively both on individual and corporate bodies, purchasing power, and thus limited investment in the construction industry. Building, production, and delivery has metamorphosized from the old drudgery of laying stones over pillars in modern recent times. It covers the entire gamut from conceptualization, designing, build to fit, and also furnishing in some instances, before the building can be handed over to the client as completed. Some procurement processes as a function of cost as huge implication on the building production. It will successfully help in completion of such projects according to the specified and agreed quality, time schedule, and of course at the right and agreed cost to all stakeholders, such as clients, contractors, project manager, etc., involved without unnecessary arbitration and or litigation should any issue arise during or after the project. All professionals in the built environment must see appropriate procurement method in the appropriate light and must also be able to judge its varying distinction from different projects, which will ultimately help in arriving at the best option for each project. Appropriate procurement method, when holistically analyzed and assessed at inception of project and put to use, will help in reducing, if not eliminating, cost overrun that could culminate from extension of time due to unforeseen mistake, errors from stakeholders on such projects. On this backdrop, once again, I welcome you all to this 28th Lagos Builders Conference and Annual General Meeting. I thank you all for coming and enjoy you all to stay and listen to all our proceedings during these 2 days packed with illuminating discourses by various knowledgeable building panelists. So relax yourself in the ambience of our usual hospitality, and at the end of it all, wishing you safe trip back to your various destinations. May God keep us all.
Thank you very much, Chairman LOC. We are supposed to have my welcome speech by my sitting chairman. But before I do that, I'll quickly, wow. I said, and he has said that he wants to be in this program, no matter what he's doing, that he will take time to be in this program and grace this occasion. He's right here before us. He's in the person, he's a professor of building, he's in the person of builder, Kabir Bala, Chairman, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir, to the ITV. Sir, you are supposed to be on the ITV. You just try to just keep his calm and keep his cool. I told you, this is a. He is also the VC Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. That's it. Handed over to the current sitting chairman. She is around. I think she's just trying to make sure everybody's settled in. Builder Jayeshimi Olatunji. I will also welcome Builder Mrs. Kolawole Atinuke. You're welcome, man. I will also welcome a very strong woman for that matter, Builder Mrs. Folashade Laja. You're welcome, man. So I will give my chairman, I will welcome him to give his opening remarks.
Start my speech by saying I give honor to those whom honor is, and that's the laid-down respect that we have in our institute. I'd like to welcome you, sir, Builder Kunle Awobodu, the president of the Nigerian Institute of Building. Thank you for coming, sir. Sir, I'd like to also welcome you, sir, the Chairman Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, Builder Professor Bala Kabir. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to also welcome you, Mark, the chair. Like, if you see the old city, chair. The chairperson of today's occasion, Engineer Mrs. Aramide Monsurat Adeyoye. You're welcome. The SA to the Governor on Work and Infrastructure. Also on the high table, I also welcome a strong woman of our time, the Chairman Council of Builders, Council of Fellow, Chairman Council of Fellow. And this is, that's why I said we have so much chairman. Everybody on the high table is share. I have another chairman. If you have a fellow leaders in Nigeria, you cannot get to that level at this point without passing through her. She knows every builder, and that's why that position is made for her. You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Also like to welcome you, the past chairman seated here, and the chairman of other state chapter that is seated. You are welcome to this occasion. My dear colleagues, members, you're welcome. Thank you. I'd like to start my speech by saying, with sincere regard to and on behalf of our Executive Council, the leadership and membership of Lagos State Chapter of the NIGERIAN Institute of Building, I convey greeting with appreciation and commendation to you on this notable 2019 annual conference and general meeting. The Institute glorifies the Almighty God for giving us the wisdom and strength to share successfully the ship of these affairs throughout this year. The theme of this year conference is appropriate procurement method ensuring effective building production. The necessity of procurement in Nigeria construction industry has brought about these use of this theme that generally address procurement method such as traditional method, design and build method, management contracting, joint venture, partnering, and private finance initiative in our day-to-day construction project activities. It is my candid opinion that our seasoned resource person will justify to the theme of this discussion. My esteemed colleague, as a build environment professionals, we shall proudly continue to identify ourselves with the challenges of build environment and contribute our maximum professional expertise towards optimizing the gain of respective procurement method for effective building production process. It shall, however, be noted that procurement method address the organization of participants and parties for execution of projects from the design to construction and even post-construction stage. Procurement method, by whatever name is called, does not abrogate or cancel the professional responsibility of various industrial professionals. For example, an architect will have to render architectural services. A builder will have to render building construction and production management services, no matter the procurement route chosen for the project. I would like to express my profound gratitude to my institute for giving me this great opportunity to serve. My gratitude forever goes to the organizing committee of this AGM and my executive members, especially my immediate past chairman, IPC, and my honorary secretary, who has worked with me closely, tirelessly with me in making sure our tenure in office is successful. To all of you here present who have honored our invitation to this occasion with your esteemed presence and listening presence, may the grace of God be mightily sufficient for you all. Indeed, I return all glory to Almighty God, for who have made this occasion a possibility and a success. Long live Nigeria Institute of Building. Long live the Council of Registered Builders. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
and showcase to the world right here from Lagos. Somebody that is leading the charge currently for NIOB. Builder Kunle Awobodo, President, Nigerian Store Building, to give his welcome address. I think we can do better than that. We should be proud of ourselves producing.
Day and see the nimble-cumulus cloud becoming dense. What does it portend? I ask you. A storm, a devastating storm. The cyclones will join forces to defeat the unexpected storm. Right here in Lagos, we witness an unusual flood that challenged those of us in the built environment as professionals. It challenged the Ministry of Works in Lagos State, the Ministry of Housing, the Ministry of the Environment. It challenged the new governor of Lagos State, my big brother, His Excellency Sanwo-Olu. But a feedback from Sydney showed that people were building on water. New Orleans in the US surrounded by water. Many cities in the advanced country are below the sea, and they are able to contain flood. Then who are we? It's a challenge to us as black men, black women, technologists, scientists, to go back to the drawing table and come out with solutions that overcome mundane problems. Mundane problems, how? The Lekki axis, the Lekki Peninsula, we had what we call master plan about drainages that were not observed. And people ended up confronting their buildings, blocking the passage of water. What do we expect? Crisis. Today, the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners are having their 50th conference in Ibadan, an annual general meeting. I was expected to be there. Town planners are very key to the law of our environment. But I was asked, that is a national assignment. You're supposed to be at national level, not state level. I could delegate somebody to represent me here, because my presence there was so crucial. 10 o'clock over there, 10 o'clock here. How do we reconcile the timing? And their topic, regenerating Nigerian cities for sustainable development. When you are talking of regeneration, which we are praying for on the Lagos Island, builders are going to be engaged. Am I lying or not? Regeneration means demolition of old buildings for the new ones. Is that not a challenge for builders? That means that such buildings that will come up will be of a higher standard. In Turkey, buildings were demolished. Once they were above 60 years. So we have the right, the choice is ours to demolish buildings. But in this case, I told my friends, the town planners, that there is only Hobson's choice. I just have one choice. The one choice is that I must attend my chapter's AGM and conference. Sorry, that was the crisis I've been managing since yesterday. Either to be here or to be in the battle. Unfortunately, my top vice, the former president of NLD, Mr. Lachabi, the top vice, Mr. Kolade, and the chairman of Oyo State, Mr. Akipade, are at UI recently. So I greet all of you from the national body of NLD. You are all welcome to this event. I appreciate you all, and I believe procurement is a topic that we can't all joke with. We are familiar with the traditional procurement method and the one that developed after it. On this note, honestly speaking, may I go and reward my seat. Thank you very much.
Right now, baked, prepared, showcase, package to the world all the way from Lagos. So we should be proud of our, and we will know and convince comfortably that His reign will do more to the success of NIOB. Within or which direction we should follow. Builders have that which we call our seal and give us that authority for our FNIOB. Thank you very much, sir.
President, our President, Nigerian Stock Building, our presidents of sister professions here present, members of the NIOB Council, the chairperson, College of Fellows, our big sister, the chairman, NIOB Lagos State Chapter, other members of Lagos Exco, members of NIOB, the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I hope I've not missed anybody there. Good morning, everybody. It gives me great pleasure and delight to stand before this August gathering of fellow builders and allied professionals in attendance to deliberate on our topic for today, which is appropriate procurement methods, ensuring effective building production. The choice of the theme is apt, considering the fact that procurement has long been and continues to be a complex process. It can be approached in many different ways, mainly characterized by novel cross-disciplinary project management approach focused upon how procurement delivers value for money. I think that's the most important thing. How do we deliver value for money? The perspective of procurement has been of increasing interest globally, nationally and globally. Procurement is defined as the acquisition of goods and services or services at the best possible cost of ownership in the right quantity and quality at the right time, in the right place, for the direct benefit of use of government, corporation, or individuals, generally via contract. I wouldn't want to take that too far because Dr. Pado, Vice Chairman of Government Asia, is one of the most informed consultants on procurement in this country today. So, sir, if I make any mistake, I hope I'll be forgiven. Procurement, the principal hallmarks of proficient public procurement, because most of the time we are dealing with public procurement. That's where the problem is. as enunciated in the Public Procurement Act 2007, published by the Bureau for Public Procurement, are economy, efficiency, fairness, reliability, transparency, and accountability and ethical standards. I don't know the extent to which we are adhering and achieving these objectives, because off record, I was told of a story of a contract where 11 companies bidded for the contract, and it turned out that it was the same organization that had the 11 procurements. So I don't know how we are going to manage this. And the transparency aspect also. There are many issues, challenges, and prospects with the Act. I think the National Assembly is currently in the process, or will commence the process to review the contract. So this conference is timely, so that we can collect all the inputs, and then it can be our own submission to that committee. Very soon they will constitute that committee to review the Public Procurement Act. So it's very timely on the right note. There is no gainsaying the fact that builders, as the building project management professionals, have a key role to play in achieving these objectives as listed, enunciated in the Public Procurement Act, with respect to effective delivery of procured goods and or services for the economic and infrastructural development of our dear country. However, there are 5 basic concerns that government procurement policies are stipulated in the Procurement Procedures Manual, published by the same Bureau, as follows. 1, to ensure that goods and services needed are procured with due attention to economy and efficiency. 2, to ensure that public funds are used to buy only those goods and services needed for national development. 3, to give all qualified bidders an equal opportunity to compete for contracts. 4, to encourage the development of local contractors and manufacturers. And I think in the way government has followed up this one by this our Executive Order 5 and then the Local Content Act, we should read this act and try to take the advantages that are there, that are open to us, and to ensure that the procurement process is transparent. Moreover, it is instructive here to refresh our memory of the government agency responsible for the procurement, which is the BPA. And the Bureau of Public Procurement was established with the principal authority for the following. 1, establishing general policies and guidelines relating to public sector procurement, and I think they have done a lot in that regard. I had a catalogue of the publications they have for different kinds of public procurement, for appointment of consultants, for what do you call it, national shopping, whatever, so many. I had a catalogue. To carry them to Lagos became a problem. But I think we should avail ourselves of these documents, know their content, see how we can exploit the opportunities enshrined in each one of them. There are quite a number. I think Dr. Padua will shed more light on that one. Supervising procurement implementation, as well as reviewing the procurement and award of contract procedures of every public entity, including certifying all federal procurement prior to, during, and after award of contract. It's a very wide provision there. Formulating and effecting amendments to the procurement guidelines, issuance of procurement manual, standard bidding documents, evaluation methodologies, standard contracts, and specifications. Providing clarifications for any of the provisions of the procurement manual or the aforementioned documents, harmonizing existing government policies and practices of public procurement by streamlining the government procurement system and standardizing the same to be of equal application to all public sector entities. Ensuring better transparency and good governance in relation to government procurement awards, promoting application of fair and competitive standards and practices by ensuring that all parties who are eligible and desirous of participating in public bidding are given an equal opportunity. And lastly, ensuring that the government will get the best value for money in terms of price, quality, timely delivery of procurement, and that government procurement system is made efficient and simplified in order to promote developmental needs of the country, put in place a monitoring mechanism in relation to the selection of successful bidders and award of government contracts. I just try to give a highlight so that we refresh our memories about the procurement, because we keep saying procurement, but you discover that many of us have not taken time to study the provisions as they are in extant regulations and documents provided. So which we should do as much as possible. That is the only way we can be able to exploit the opportunities that are offered to us here. Now I say let's look at some of the core practice areas, because people, a lot of time people ask me, are we only doing building construction methodology, quality management and safety and management? No. Those are those key documents that are required, and we are now requesting that they should be included as contract documents. That's just it. But if you look at the training of a builder, it's one of the most, comprehensive training of a professional in all the professional fields, especially in the built environment. It's the most, and I make, I don't apologize for that one. You deal with structures, we deal with construction management, you deal with services, you deal with actual construction on site, which is our own specialty. So we say these documents are just supposed to enable you to perform those core functions that we are empowered to do. Let's get that very straight. So I said, let's refresh our memories. These are also in the documents of NIOB and COBON. They have, I think, I'm happy to see very senior people in this, our College of, in this meeting, our College of Fellows Chair, Builder Jai Shemi is there, Mrs. Naja is there, Builder Mrs. Kolaole is there, our President is there. So many documents, people have forgotten about these documents. We have done so many CP, this concerning professional development on these aspects of our own practice long ago, but it seems as if we have forgotten some of the core areas where we can practice. Look at the practice, the training of a builder, look at the curriculum, look at what we go through. A lot of empowerment of a builder. You can design many things, although you are not a designer, then you can translate them, you can do this, you can do that. And so, this, I forgot to come with a document where these were fully discussed in one CPD maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I can't remember. But then we have them. And I think they ought to be in the NIOB library. Now, facilities management, maintenance management, building surveying, prime consultants, resident supervision, project management, construction management. Please, we shouldn't have any confusion between project management and construction management. Now, elsewhere, we have MSc PhD in construction project management, and we have MSc PhD in construction management. You are taking project management methodologies and applying to construction. That is just construction project management. So, we are trying to do all that one. Building production management, reactivation of building projects, project monitoring and evaluation, feasibility and viability studies, building services, mediation, arbitration, expert witness. We had continuing professional development, very detailed on all these ones, and the documents are there. So if people continue to ask about only 3 documents, please, I'm repeating, those documents are documents that we should be able to prepare, which will make us proficient in all these 4 areas that we are supposed to, but professional skill. And some of them are actually exclusively ours, some in conjunction with other professionals. Let's also not make any mistakes about those ones. Feasibility study, for instance, is a multidisciplinary approach kind of thing. You make your input, others also make their own input, and so on and so forth. So let's, now we can, I brought these ones out after enunciating the major highlights of the Public Procurement Act and the way it is supposed to be run and the core objectives. And so let's look at those ones. Let's look at our core practice areas and see how we can make ourselves more relevant, more efficient, and perhaps even better on the material note. Now, on final notes, I'd like to encourage all professional builders with passion and interest for procurement to take advantage of procurement conversion course offered by the BPP. There is, please, perhaps many of us don't know, there is a procurement cadre. I'm sure, like I said, Dr. Palwa would expand on this. In the Federal Civil Service, I'm not sure all states have, it has cascaded down to states yet, but it will eventually. Many states have, I know many states have done it, I don't know whether all states, but many have procurement cadre now. So you begin as a procurement officer and right to be director, that's the highest in civil service. I know some builders have taken this challenge, they have converted and they are procurement officers. We have them in some institutions, some states, and even federal. But I think considering our number, we are underrepresented. And we must, as much as possible, attend this conversion class. I think it's a 2-week course. People who attended the courses earlier. So the earlier we attend these courses and convert, the better. You may not even apply for any procurement officer job for now, but have it. Please, I'm making this appeal for us to try and exploit this opportunity to most sincerely felicitate with Lagos State Chapter. I must also say Lagos is probably, not probably, the most active chapter, and the President can bear witness if Lagos should decide to sleep and the building profession will sleep in this country. God forbid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Chairman. Of applause for ourselves for taking the time to actually look into this matter called procurement. I want us to give a round of applause to ourselves. Before I bring the chairperson for today to give our position on this matter, I will have craved our indulgence before. I will also crave our indulgence yet again to bring in the Chairman College of Fellow to also weigh in on this matter. Why we now have the chairperson, Builder Bolanle Araba. You're welcome. FNI will be Chairman College of Fellow.
Thank you. I know this morning is not a morning for speeches. The only authorized person that I believe should be given a speech is the chairman of the occasion. I have been given just 2 minutes. And I want to say that I will use my 2 minutes to facilitate. So I want to greet the chairman of this gathering, a woman whom I have immense professional respect for, Engineer Mrs. Aramide Adeyoye. Good morning again. I also want to greet the President, Nigerian Institute of Building, who happens to be a son, as in he was my student. But I have pleasure to see him having grown so much over and above me. My president, Because I don't want the chairman of Cobon to enlist me, I want to recognize the chairman, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, Professor Bala Kabir, whom I want to use angelic voice to proclaim as the next VC of Ahmadu Bello University, my alma mater. And because I belong to Lagos State Chapter, I also want to facilitate with the chairman, Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Building, the Chapter of Excellence, the chapter that is the pace setter for the nation, the chapter that matters, the chapter that leads and others follow. I also want to recognize representatives of our sister professionals. Thank you for stretching a hand of collaboration. You're welcome here. I also want to greet the elders of Lagos State Chapter. Lagos State Chapter is a chapter that is very rich in guidance and counseling. And Madam Chairman, this is because they honor their elders. And you can see they are here backing them up. I appreciate that in them. So we don't leave them alone. They come, they seek for counseling, they seek for advice. And we know in our culture, a child that does that does not go wrong. So the elders of Lagos State Chapter, I don't want to be mentioning you by names. I thank you, and I thank myself on your behalf. You're all welcome here. I want to now end it by saying, conferences are made for purposes. Yes, it is a time to network. It is a time to facilitate. It is a time to greet old faces. But it has a reason. And the reason is for us to deliberate, to rub minds together on matters that affect the profession. It is not after living here that we grumble behind, the elders are not doing this, the government is not doing it. Who is the government? We are. And if we are passionate about our profession, this is where to discuss it. I was a participant at the just concluded training, the health and safety training organized by IOSH UK. And I must say that I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I upskilled what I already knew about health and safety. And if I have to prepare the document now, I would do it differently. There is no end to knowledge. So let us come here. Let us be open. Let us deliberate. And let us resolve to rise up with a communique that will assist the economy of this country, of this state, and that will even make our profession progress. That is the reason why we are here. We are here to drink tea. We are here to greet old faces. We are here to eat lunch. We are here to move the profession forward. I also want to recognize the Vice Chairman of Cobon. I have called you a professor already. Don't like Dr. Samson of Balua. He's somebody to hold on to as far as procurement is concerned. When next there is another training on procurement, I want to be part of it. Do you want to be part of it? Yes. Be determined to be part of it. You're all welcome.
President, Lagos State Chapter, Yudade Kombi. Chairman, Fellows, Auntie Moniman. The elders of this great institute, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The president of NIGERIAN stirred up something in my heart as he was saying in his speech. He said, this is the center of excellence. And no doubt about it, what you have all seen happen in the last 3 months or 5 months, in fact, is unusual. The meteorological services in the last 19 years, there is nothing like this before. And I keep saying, God doesn't make mistakes. He's always there on time and on spot. What he does is, it sometimes will shake the foundation for you to be exposed, to see what exactly has taken place, then you know exactly how to rebuild. And so, on that note, I would say good morning, and then I will read my speech. I'll go in and I'll ask some vital questions along the line, which will be food for thought for all of us. And then as a state, a pace-setter state, we'll tell you what we as a ministry, what we're going to do in a different manner going forward. I'm deeply honored to be invited to this very important gathering of who is who in the built industry, the 28th Lagos Builders Conference, more so as chairman in the midst of such an august assemblage of high-flying professional achievers. You can't have the teachers of teachers here. Very amiable woman. I remember my first experience with her. Very professional to the core, very unassuming. Thank you, Auntie. I want to commend the organizers of the conference for the choice of a very apt theme, appropriate procurement methods, ensuring effective building production. I'm particularly elated to be in the midst of distinguished builders and fellow stakeholders in the built environment to discuss an issue of common interest, one that plays a very crucial role in the development of a city, state, and the nation at large. We are all aware of the issues and the challenges that daily confront us in the construction practice, such as existence of quacks, the use of substandard materials, and more particularly the inappropriate procurement methods which often result in prolonged delays in project completion. Our dear state, I must say, has had an unfair share of building collapse. It's become too worrisome, very embarrassing. It looks like we're helpless. It grieves our heart, and we can do better. Along with avoidable loss of lives and properties. This, you will agree with me, is a dent on our state of excellence mantra. Thus, we must put all hands on deck and work assiduously together as stakeholders in the Lagos project to beat the ugly trend in final buy. I am of the strong opinion that the passage of the Public Procurement Act (PPA), which emphasizes competence, appropriate pricing, structured funding, usage of standard and quality materials, amongst others, was meant or designed to entrench quality, efficiency, and safety in line with global best practices. It's a catalyst for success, a recipe for growth, and the bedrock of sanity in every area of public procurement, especially as it affects the construction sector. Appropriate procurement methods are comprehensive processes that ensure quality goods and services are delivered at the best possible conditions of cost, machine, time, and men. It also involves arranging and coordinating people to achieve prescribed construction goals and objectives. The effectiveness and efficiency of these methods impact considerably on the overall success failure of any project. The usage of the appropriate procurement methods in building production helps the client, the government, corporate or private developers to ensure and promote sustainable development by utilizing available resources in the most efficient, transparent, and ethical manner. It's to help in minimizing costs through effective competition, protection of public funds, timely delivery of quality at the right price, and provide high level of satisfaction for all its users. Ladies and gentlemen, in the light of the wholesome situation that in the built industry as of today, can we honestly say and ask ourselves that the above scenario, is that the case that we have today? Is Lagos State, nay, Nigeria, benefiting from the provisions of the PPA? Are the professionals in the field working with the spirit of PPA? Are we delivering projects to time? Can we guarantee the quality of projects and houses being delivered? I'm afraid the spate of building failures and collapses says otherwise. In view of the above challenges, there is a need to sanitize the system, and I'm positive that this conference will do justice to these challenges. Distinguished builders, I want to put on record that this government is one of due process. As part of addressing the shortcomings in the built industry, the State Executive Council is considering for approval the introduction of standard operating procedures for all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, and in particular the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. The document spells out the do's and don'ts for all construction projects for the state government, including the contractor's handbook. The purpose of the SOP is to establish procedures which will ensure compliance with applicable laws, executive orders, circulars and ministerial mandates, as well as outline responsibilities for the execution of projects as defined. It highlights the roles of relevant MDAs and their interdependency from project conception, planning and seeking executive approval, award of contract, execution and implementation, payment processing and delivery to closure. You will agree with me that it's a complete document and we shall ensure its implementation to the letter. While recognizing the impact of the professional builders in ensuring safety and standards in the built environment in the state, and as reflected in the construction of numerous projects dotting the state's landscape, I want to appeal to you to use the platform of this conference to support the state's government and our partner with Lagos State government in our efforts at ensuring a built environment where accountability, transparency, professionalism, and quality of the procurement process are the watchword. Finally, I implore all of us as stakeholders who understand the inherent dangers in cutting corners to please collaborate and cooperate with the government to put behind the incidence of building collapse in the state by ensuring that all development rules are strictly adhered to. Build right with appropriate building methods, weed out the quacks, and report illegal developments. This is the way forward. It will help us all to protect our individual and collective integrity. Before I close, the national president mentioned something, and he said, Louisiana, when you are in New Orleans, they have concrete roads. Like I said, what has happened in the last 3 months is unusual. And so it has made us to rejig our thinking. Why must, and I want to ask at this stage, why must we continue to do things in the same manner and think we're going to get to different results? For the last 30 years, the way we word our Benin is always said, provide for feeding material using gravel laterite as your feeding material. That's the standard Benin we all know. The question is, do you really have this gravel material anymore? Why are we not responding to the reasons, the reality around us? Lagos is a built-up area. Where is the gravel laterite? What you get is powdery material. There is no longer gravel laterite. Secondly, the ocean level has risen. It's risen, so if the ocean level has risen, the water table is high. We already know that we have issues. Can we not change the way we build our roads? Can we not have sand cementatious roads? Can we not do things differently? I tell you one of the things that we did, coming on board. Some roads have been identified. Typical of them are three. When you go on Obakran Road, where you have the terminal, That road was constructed 8 years ago, if I'm not wrong, but it's totally collapsed. It's the usage, it's the drainage, it has drainage issues, the outfalls are totally blocked, and then the excessive articulated trucks that you have there, the loadings that you have there. Another one is the Kosi Road. And so our model for the traditional methods that you have for procurement will not work, because obviously there's an infrastructure gap funding. How do you go about it? You have to create it in the way you think. So for this administration, we have decided to partner with the corporate world. Access Bank, for instance, they're coming up to develop a part of Victoria Island as part of their CSR. We are also trying to partner with Mrs. Dangote so that we can begin to build RCC, reinforced concrete pavement roads. It's not expensive, but it's long lasting. The Lagos corridor, well, that road that you have there was built 37 years ago. That road survived for 35 years. The degradation that you have on the road now is because of the excessive loading that you've had there, and because so many factories are springing up. Lekki is a corridor that the kind of development you've seen there, none has ever taken place in Africa at that rate. But how would I say it? We grew so fast, and government was not that proactive to meet up. And so it's a challenge. The road was built without outfall provisions, and you have a lot of built-up places. The master plan, Lekki has its master plan. There's been a lot of discussion. But inside the discussion, you have to move. What we must tell ourselves is we have done too much injury to ourselves to realize that, hey, it's time that we all sit down and do what is right. Right from the procurement, the method that we used to procure, right from the moment when a contract is issued and bring it to closure, let's build right. Let's use materials right. Let's make sure that when they specify something and they say this is a specification for it, let us ensure that that specification is adhered to. It's not enough to say, oh, I've done this one for 20-something years. Oh, I think I have experience in this one. I know one thing about the construction industry. It's the ease of getting into it is so fast. You find even somebody who is not trained in the art of it to tell you that, oh, I know how to do it. And so it builds on us to sit down as professionals and ensure that we do these things to the letter. So, with that said, I would like to end up by saying I wish you all fruitful deliberations in this conference. Thank you for listening. God bless you all.
This is somebody that's taking time out of our busy schedule to be here. Thank you very, very much, man. I will quickly recognize the following people. They are eminent. I worked in while the program was ongoing. Builder Akipelu Jelili, past chairman, NIOB Lagos Chapter. This is my father. Builder Maruf Abbas, past chairman, NIOB Lagos Chapter. Both of them are FNIOB, they paid their dues for the institute. I will also quickly recognize our visiting state. Is the current chairman, NIOB Abuja Chapter, Builder Wilson Odumbaku. Yeah, he was there last year. I mean, he's a friend of Lagos. He always take time out. And he DJ, oh, he's playing Lagos already. So welcome very much, sir. I will also recognize the chairman of the state chapter. Nice, a representative of IOSH, representing Lagos, and also representing their international body. I think the mic is on our table. Yes.
With the keynote address I'm giving, I officially declare this conference open. I wish you all congratulations. I hope that the prof being here, the justice that is going to do to the papers, and the representative of IOSH, I've seen her there, madam, all the way from UK. I think the need for collaboration cannot be more. In fact, the theme of this conference is apt. I was telling myself, I said, God doesn't make mistakes. He's always on point. The things that you need to do, he will tell you, he will speak to you. You only need to be sensitive to hear him. So, on that note, this conference is declared open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Before I present and do justice on behalf of Kiwasa Kiljola, then I will quickly bring the IOSH representative, Mrs. Fobi Adebola, to
stand on all existing protocols and want to say a very big thank you for this opportunity. I represent IOSH for West Africa. So I'm the consultant to IOSH who is managing the business development for West Africa. So I bring greetings from the senior leadership team at IOSH, and of course say a big thank you once again to you all. IOSH doesn't take this platform for granted, and neither do they take this relationship for granted. So as such, we want to appreciate the current Lagos State Chairman, Builder Adelaja, and the leadership team of NIOB for this opportunity. You're doing a great and commendable job, especially on this new relationship initiative. So please, can we give a round of applause to the leadership of NIOB. So as I said earlier, I consult for IOSH West Africa, so it's only appropriate for me to give a backdrop of who IOSH is and what IOSH is all about. So IOSH is the world's leading professional body when it comes to occupational health and safety in the workplace. And so they champion, support, advise, advocate, and train those who protect safety, health, and well-being of others. They are consistent and authoritative when it comes to a voice in occupational health and safety around the world. When this initiative came up, when IOSH got the memo from Builder Adelaja regarding the initiative, it was sent to me for me to review, and one of the things I had to do was to do a quick background check on NIOB and, in terms of their responsibility when it comes to health and safety being for the construction sector. Health and safety is a responsibility of all professions, including, whether you're a builder or, procurement manager or a scaffolder, electrician, what have you, within the construction sector, we all own, health and safety. So therefore, looking at the builder's code as well, because I thought, how can we evidently see who owns the responsibility, who is the primary duty holder for health and safety? And in the section, in the builder's code, I think it's section 2, subsection 2.3, that talks about the contract documents, and the builders put that together. And one of the things required in that subsection is a health and safety, project health and safety plan to be prepared, and it must be prepared by builders, which means primarily you guys in this room own health and safety first before anyone else. So congratulations on that. But then obviously on research, from doing research, one of the two things that I came across, or two gaps rather that I came across, is lack of competency and lack of capacity. And so one of the things that IOSH thought is, how can we add value to NIOB is to build a bridge, a bridge to close off this gap. So it's a sector that poses a very high risk. That's the construction sector. It poses a very high risk, and as such, and that could be from the construction phase, post-construction, during construction, or even pre-construction. And so for that reason, it's unfair for NIOB to want to take responsibility for whether it be moral, financial, or even legal, responsibility for somebody, going to work and not coming back safe, or maybe the general public has been affected. No one should lose their lives or their loved ones, actually, from incompetence resulting in maybe building collapse, inferno, fire inferno, dangerous construction materials. And one that is quite prominent in Nigeria, which I think it's quite relevant to builders, is asbestos. Asbestos, we find a lot of people maybe dying, earlier than they should, but then Nigerians would say maybe their village people is after them. No, it's not their village people, unfortunately. It's possibly the exposure to these very carcinogenic substances that are used in materials that builders and even other people within the construction profession are exposed to. So as such, you find these agents in your POP, in your tiles, your ceramics, your toilet ceramics, even in pipes. So it's important to be exposed and to have the knowledge of what is asbestos, how do you mitigate your exposure to asbestos, and after that, one of the things I find here is people go and do demolition, not knowing whether or not there's actually asbestos present anywhere. So there's no culture on maybe doing asbestos survey or what have you in an area to to ensure that the asbestos is not disturbed, because it is possible to have an asbestos material there. If it's undisturbed, it's fine, but when it becomes disturbed and then of course people are exposed to it, that's when it becomes a danger. So this and strengthen impacts globally, IOSH has decided to partner with NIOB. So I think that is quite rewarding, and I think we can give ourselves a round of applause for that. IOSH intends to partner in twofold. One is to expose high quality training materials or tools, such as the IOSH training that's just been recently done. I think the first or the maiden one was done on the 10th of October, which I believe we've heard positive feedback from. So IOSH has a product for manual. And the second fold is to recognize, the NIOB membership. So this is something that's still being worked on behind the scenes. So we want to do like a category transfer. So if you are maybe hypothetically speaking, you're in grade 2 within NIOB, we want to see how we can, where and how you can be placed to the right level within IOSH, and that's being
reviewed at the moment. So we'll have a part to play in changing the narrative on health and safety in Nigeria, particularly even within the construction sector. You know, whether as an individual or even as an institute. You know, so we want a situation whereby we can, as builders, identify, you know, unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, and it's not just that alone, but to report it to relevant bodies. We've heard this president of the Lagos City Commission here, and you know, even NSITF. So if we have any unsafe acts, unsafe conditions that result to loss of lives or injuries, you know, we need to be able to report these and record this. Because as a country, one of the things that we are also lacking on is statistics. We have no data, but if we can record our data, you know, that would be really helpful. So I must say, Africa is doing a great job. Nigeria is doing a great job, but there's always room for improvements, which is why it is with keep helping appreciating as it comes forward. Thank you. Engineer Kayode is doing so much at the forefront of IOSH, you know, with Africa being the center focus for him. So please, let's do whatever we can to partner with Engineer Kayode to make sure Nigeria is on the map when it comes to
executive members of NIOB, I say thank you. It's a privilege to be here as well. And for our members as well, congratulations to you all. I'll quickly say this. Maybe Fumi didn't mention that earlier. IOSH set up a strategy in 2017. It's a 5-year strategy which is going to run till 2022. And there are 3 areas that IOSH is focusing on. One is enhancing the profession. As an institution, it's the largest health and safety and only chartered health and safety institution in the world. Okay, and one of the core areas of interest is enhancing the profession. That means we're looking at different ways of improving health and safety across the globe. And the other area of interest is also influencing and also collaborating with professional institutions, of course with like minds. I'm sure she did mention this. There are a lot of organizations, professional institutions who has been talking to IOSH about collaboration, and even the biggest health and safety institution in Nigeria has not been able to set up a collaboration. So I was surprised how NIOB got that. I was quite amazed to hear that there's a collaboration. So it's good news to Nigeria as well. It's good news to NIOB, and it's good news to the construction industry as well. As we all know, the construction industry remains a very high-risk sector in Nigeria and globally. In fact, in the US, in the UK, it's a sector that is given high priority when it comes to construction risk management. And of course, for the past couple of years, we've had a series of building collapse in Nigeria, and which at the moment, the major focus has always been to the building owners. Okay, but trust me, things are changing. The expectations are changing. Okay, and people are now asking questions. Where are the builders? Where are the designers? What are they doing to address some of these risks? And of course, the onus now lies on you as an institution to now take up extra efforts to ensure that these are addressed. And in doing that, I think this is one of the areas when Fumi did our background checks about the institution, contacted IOSH, and of course, one of the key arguments is that why are people dying if institutions like this exist in Nigeria? It's no more news that, oh, the regulation is weak, there's no strong or robust construction-specific health and safety legislation. There are some maybe guidelines, but still needs to be stronger than what it is at the moment. In the UK, we have what they call the CDM regulation, the Construction Design and Management Coordination 2015, which has been in existence. It used to be 2008, it's gone through different phases. Now, what is specific and unique about that regulation is that the responsibility cuts across everyone, right from the building owners to the designers, and to you, the builders, the construction subcontractors, and even the leased employees on site as well. So, be as it may, what we are saying is that IOSH wants to see a transition in how the institution wants to influence the country as well. How do you?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
And to say I'm delighted to be here this morning. to celebrate the 28th Lagos Builders Conference and annual general meetings with my colleagues, my brothers, the chairman of Lagos State, and the entire membership. I bring greetings from NIOB FCT chapter, the whole Federal Capital Territory. We wish you well. We want to identify with the progress we've made, and Lagos is a trailblazer, and we look forward to be here next year to also celebrate another conference. I wish to say that Lagos State is home to NIOB, and it's home to me too. And we want to wish you a good deliberation and a good session ahead. Happy annual general meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I greet the elders in the house, and I bring good tidings from the state, the Gateway State. On behalf of the State Chapter, we bring greetings to our Lagos brothers, the Center for Excellence, and I personally greet my friend. I call him the Share of Share. That's Builder Adekombi Adelaja. And I welcome the incoming chairman, my personal friend and amiable brother, Builder Sunday Joseph Musu. I wish to state that apart from Lagos State, the next state to reckon with in NIOB is the Gateway State, which is Ogun State. And I stand to be corrected. The history of NIOB could not be written without the input of our great and forefathers, some of them who have joined, who have gone to be with the Lord. They cannot just mention the Ogun State. So when the Abuja man was talking, I was just laughing. When you erase Lagos from NIOB, then you cannot just erase Ogun State. So I wish the NIOB Lagos State a peaceful deliberation, and I also want to use this opportunity as well to invite all of us here to the Gateway 2019 annual AGM, which is coming up December 3rd, 2019. And it's taking place at Quarry Imperial Hotel, 52, Quarry Road, Ibarra, Abeokuta. So I wish all of us a peaceful deliberation and say back to our respective places. Thank you.
And I want us to visit the exhibition stand and see what we have in stock.
Durability is a factor when you are also looking at procurement.
Okay, sir, looking at this, we have so many abandoned projects, I mean, as you said. Should it be as a result of not the implication of procurement that is causing this, or are there other factors that is causing abandoned projects in the country?
Let me give you an example. You know, in a political patronage, where sensitive building projects or contracts are given to friends, relations, or political acolytes who don't have experience in project funding, we could have a problem. Once advance payment is made for such a project to a contractor or individual who had not seen such a huge amount of money coming into the company's account will be tempted to attend to so many other things, thinking that that money was so huge, so sufficient to take a project to maybe a 60% level. So from the beginning, project fund begins to be diverted to irrelevant areas. As the project proceeds, funds becomes a challenge. And when what you have done is evaluated and it does not meet the expected percentage level, do you understand? Further payment will not be made and the project becomes abandoned. So that is why an ideal procurement system will ensure that project is not given to somebody or a firm who does not have track record of handling similar projects.
Okay, so what do you think government can do to stop all these abandoned projects in this?
That was the essence of all these procurement system that has been, for instance, that has been put in place to checkmate construction projects being awarded to wrong firms. That construction project must be given to the well-established firms, not based on political patronage, and also having the adequate personnel that will execute the project. Because what we usually have in Nigeria is that when a company submits a CV or a profile, company profile, you see names of well-competent, qualified personnel, professionals in such profile. But at the time of execution, those people will not be available. So that is an area where procurement method must try to checkmate. That is, first claim should not be accepted through due process of the procurement system.
So finally, how can the issue of procurement bring to a minimum the issue of the collapse building in the country?
Yeah, well, the procurement is quite related to reduction of collapse of building. Let me give you a simple reference, which has to do with fund issue. When you design, when a design is produced for a client without considering the available funds of the client, there could be a problem. Because along the line, standard will be compromised as the project goes on. And it's so common in our environment that very bogus projects are being constructed without having a profound knowledge of cost implications. And these have been leading to effective building. Those of us who are involved in everyday construction understand this. It's a major problem. And that is why BIM is being introduced to make sure that clients have a total understanding of the project they are embarking on, so that all the interiors will be exposed. All the sides will be exposed so that we minimize the spaces in such buildings. For instance, why should we, honestly speaking, allow yourself to be given a design that consists of 3 living rooms? How many are you going to really make use of? So those are the contradictions that have to be exposed at early stage so that clients will not spend beyond what it is in the cup.
Thank you very much, sir.
I don't like that coffee.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How much is your name?
My name is Adela Jade.
You are the
current chairman of Nigerian Institute of Beauty. And today is our conference, annual general conference.
Okay, sir. What gave you choice for this today's trip, sir?
There's a lot. I've been in this position for 2 years now. And then it's time for me to relinquish the power to someone else to take over. And that's the process we are going through now. The joyful thing is that a lot of work has been put into place. And with the support of many members, we have, let's say, tremendously achieved the success. And that's one of the things that is giving me my life full of joy. And also the success of choosing this particular team of this conference is also a joyful thing because that's the current thing that's going on in town, which we need to address for us not to have poor construction and poor workmanship inside. The government is a very, very diverse area. It encompasses all aspects of it, right from the beginning to the end. Keep the government in the head every structure. So when we're talking about it, we can't rule it out in any form. It's key, very, very important. That's why the topic, the theme of this conference is segmented. It's approaching towards detailed system.
Okay, what are the implications of
it means that if someone is doing the guesswork, just like just started doing, how does it collapse on paper? Most of the collapse is some are well drawn in the paper by architects, but the few person that are going to manage the construction is the main work there. If you give me a drawing, definitely whatever you put in the drawing cannot collapse. It is when we are doing the implementation, and then the problem coming right from the beginning, from the foundation. And let me quickly just make it simple for you to understand that the aspect of buying the material, all necessary things to build a house must be planned on paper. You can't stand up and say, I want to build a house. The house will cost me 50 million. How do you do it without having a plan? So any project that is not procured can lead to abandonment of project, and that's common with the government project and the individual project.
The issue of abandoned projects, when you look at in the countries, you have so many abandoned projects in the country. We say it as a result of wrong implementation of employment or are there other factors that is affecting, that is making projects to be abandoned in the country?
Thank you. When you at least all the reasons why we are having abandoned projects, the priority, we prioritize them. The first one you think is lack of employment, and it's very, very important. Others are there, you can have problem with you still go down to planning. If you don't plan, you don't just go to field and fight a battle. they are going to lose the battle. And that losing the battle is the same way like losing, doing a project that is not going to be complete, an uncompleted project. So the right process is that you put the pen on paper from the beginning, right from the post-construction, the design stage, every aspect, so that at the end of the day, you know that this is what is going to cost for us to have the project. So if you don't do that, that project will end up at the center. And that's another topic for another day. Most of the projects you saw that they are is what the hoodlums are using now. That's where they sit down, that's where they carry out the activities. So we are not planning any project, not preparing anything. Lead to a structure for hoodlums. They are building houses for hoodlums as a result of failure.
So what role should government do to ensure contractors complete building projects in record time to help keep of the abandoned projects?
There is a procurement law, and at the federal level is the very, very high topic. You can't, if you don't have all the requirements, you can get a national, all the requirements on the procurement, you can get a job. Even at the state level, you have to register with the procurement department before you get it. But that does not end it. That does not end it. The major challenges is that giving the project to the right people. We are not saying politicians should not get contracts because they work for the service. But what the government needs to put in place is that tell the politicians go and get professional people to come. So if you connect the project as a politician, what we are now saying is that the responsibility of that project will be in the hands of the professionals. If you want to hold anybody responsible, you hold the professionals. So, in no sense, we are not saying politicians should not get it. They should get it in professionals. You can't do it all. One man can't do it. It's a teamwork.
Okay, finally, sir, you have to indicate of the last building in the country. What is the way forward?
That's the very menace is a serious menace. But I believe that we can come in a very short time. And how do we do it? Let us have a national government and let us make that goal. Let us make the goal relevant. You understand? And also not just to make it, you can make a law. If you make a law and you don't regulate the law, the law will not work. So if we get a code that is regulated, then you can now say, if this thing happens in the process of doing this in the process of construction, you have people to hold responsible. And then we need just one or two stables. Government just needs to use that law, enforce that law on one or two departments. And then everybody will sit down. Managing the site is not a duty of somebody. Site management is a serious thing. You manage human resources, you manage material resources, you manage the fund. So if those 3 points are not well managed, definitely that project is coming to an end. And it's not easy to manage money or to construct and dealing with money. So don't see construction as something I've been doing for long, something I can do. You need to manage, you need to manage resources. When we say resources, materials. And you also need to manage the sites so that at the end of the day, what you are projected, what you are told, meet the standards. The roads, the finishing product, and the money required to do it.
I'm back to this part of the hall. I want to welcome my discussants. I want to assure you it's not easy to discuss issues that has diverse interpretations. I'm letting you know that my name is Nuda Ladeloba Adishino Emmanuel. I feel highly honored to moderate all the crossfires that will be coming up here that will end up at agreeing. So we are going to disagree to agree. And having said that, I want to welcome, Madam, you are most welcome, ma'am. Before we go into the topic proper, the topic is appropriate procurement methods, ensuring effective building production. That's the topic we are dealing with. That means we are dealing with procurement in its entirety. And as someone that has headed procurement department before, I can tell you that procurement is very interesting. Very interesting, and at the same time very dangerous. And so that leads me to the prelude to the discussion. And that sets the stage for the discussion we are having this afternoon. In 2001, the Nigerian government, headed by President Olusegun Obasanjo, enacted the Public Procurement Act, PPA, of Nigeria to address the obvious lapses in Nigeria's procurement system over the years, and of course to address the flagrant abuse to rules and standards in the award and execution of public contracts in Nigeria. These policy reforms were informed by the fact that construction is a priority sector for foreign and private investments. The private sector is the engine of economic growth and must be promoted. Sorry, because of my acknowledgement, I didn't acknowledge the paper. And so now they have shown me that they are here. Well, whether this go, in fact, the news we give to all these parastatals and the organizations as a way of working on them. But when you say disco, disco is usually dance in the dark. Let me take you back to those days. I'm sure you are beginning to remember. In those days when we were dancing disco, there would be light, but they would switch the light off. So you don't blame NEPA for switching off the light because you call them disco. The policy reforms were informed by the fact that construction is a priority sector for foreign and private investments. The private sector is the engine of economic growth and must be promoted. The government is of the view that any improvement in the public procurement system will have a direct and substantial impact on the overall economic situation and may result in budgetary savings and efficiency in government expenditures. In spite of the above, successive reviews have revealed substantial inefficiencies and concluded that value for money was not being achieved in both government and donor finance procurement. This gathering will therefore explore the major issues in construction procurement in Nigeria and analyze the potential impact of the Public Procurement Act and effectiveness of budget monitoring and price intelligence policy reform initiatives of both government and private projects. At the end of the exercise, the procurement issues would have been addressed. So, what are the major issues? Please join me as we simply explore. Allow me to use a balance. Let's go there. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are there now. And so we want to start the exercise by raising questions. And that question, number one, is it really true that procurement activity starts immediately the need for it is identified and hence as soon as the transaction is completed? And the first person I will ask to talk about this, and we also help us to talk about the different procurements that we have, is no other person than Builder of Padua. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, moderator. Let me start by acknowledging the presence of my chairman, the council, chairman of COBOD, and the president of NIOB, distinguished co-discussants, senior builders, and my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Procurement in Nigeria did not start. However, the recruiting and the aggregation of procurement functions was what was done by the Public Procurement Act 2007. Before the 4th of June 2007, when the Public Procurement Act was signed into law, we had all forms of regulations concerning public procurement, financial regulation, procurement, purchasing regulations, different aspects of buying and selling for the public sector. And this was disaggregated in various ministries, with particularly the Ministry of Works and Housing, or Ministry of Housing, whatever configuration the government of the day finds it to be, purely in charge of the built environment procurement. But with the advent of the Public Procurement Act 2007, all elements of government procurement were brought together under one regulation, which is the law governing public procurement in Nigeria since the 4th of June 2007. Now, procurement is different from purchasing and supply. And so when you begin to say, is it true? You go back to your question, Mr. Moderator, that procurement starts with this assessment. I say yes. Because you have to identify your need. And it is your need that informs budgeting. And it is after you have appropriated, you have budgeted and an appropriation act is passed, that the public sector is now authorized to procure.
On that note, sir, the issue of need as a reason before you can go into procurement. And so, I can see you nodding your head in agreement, sir. I want to hear your view on that.
The protocols observed. My name is Terence Sachikan, actually representing my GM, who is unavoidably absent.
Can we have volume to this microphone, please?
Who is unavoidably absent. So I'm here representing on the head of the QS unit, L Alarm Construction Company Nigerian Limited. Yes, the procurement actually starts from need. The need, we have heard the breakdown of the definition of procurement. In the layman's understanding, is just identifying it, then breaking down the process to achieving the needs that will end up in the value of that particular need. Of course, the procurement in this regard is establishing or identifying how do we go about carrying out this need
that have been identified, what steps do we need to establish to enable us realize this need or those needs?
Beautiful.
So that is a basic thing in this regard.
So when you talk about needs, you are probably also talking about buying and selling.
Exactly.
Okay, if it's exactly, then let me go to Madam. So when you talk about buying and selling, women are better in that area. Madam, is it true?
Procurement encompasses buying and selling. But before I will do that, I will first introduce to you myself. I'm Bola Adeniran, representing QS Wasiu Akeushola. He sent his greetings and said I should wish the Institute a happy deliberation. Procurement encompasses buying and selling. You start with, if there is no need assessment, there can't be a budget. So your need assessment informs what your budget is all about. And then procurement starts from need assessment up till the end life of the project. From the beginning to the end, to disposal or to the maintenance and everything. That is what procurement is. It is much more than purchasing. We have moved past purchasing and we are now in procurement, where the total life of a project, whether be it selection, whether be it monitoring, and the totality of that project is what we project management, contract management are all encompassing in procurement.
Thank you very much. And that's what I like to hear from the women folk. He has taken it to another dimension. Need assessment. That actually very right. Need assessment. So talking about assessment, it simply means that procurement is a specialist area. And so professionals must handle it. And also if professionals must handle it, it must be guided by rules and regulations. I found out that the majority of people are nodding to my submission. It simply means that we need to go into defining how to make our procurement. There are procurement methods. And if there are procurement methods, there must also be rules and regulations guiding them. I would like to come back to you, sir. What are these methods available to us?
Okay, before I talk about the methods,
yes,
I want to let us know that for the public sector, needs assessment is a given. An individual may just have a particular need and go for it. But in the public sector, our needs assessment is pedestaled on the developmental agenda of the government of the day. So what are the plans of the government? What are the manifestos of the party that won election? Where did they say they were taking the society? And it is from there that the need that should be addressed through public procurement on an annual basis is concretized. And so, when you now have this need concretized, is it road? Is it buildings? Is it soft issues like teaching, educational materials? Is it consulting, like organizing market women or traders? All those are needs. And it therefore determines, the need determines the method of procurement. Are you going to go into open competitive bidding, which is the default mechanism allowed by the Public Procurement Act 2007? But again, there are provisions to go into different types of procurement, selective tendering, for instance. If you know that there are only few people that will provide you with the service that you need, you don't need to expand it to everybody.
I will have to interject here. Okay. The reason being that we are beginning to probe into the areas that are reserved for us to handle. And so before we know, we can just end this discussion very quickly. And that is the professional part of you, just because we are both builders. But the truth is that when you are talking about need assessment, it also goes to show that you are aware of the relevance of the project you intend to procure. Because the project must have relevance. You don't give those who don't need airport, you don't give them airport. It will be useful to them. And so that will now take me to you, sir. What really do you think is our need in terms of procurement as a people?
Now, in the public sector, it's quite different from the private sector. The public sector mostly is driven politically. Their needs are politically driven. Though they still have some stings that is a little bit economical. If I'll speak from the contractor's view, in the private sector, we look at profit orientation. How much can we profit from this? And so that drives their need. Now, if we go global as a nation, one of the key elements that drives this need in the procurement discussion is actually population growth. There is great demand for the need that we can offer, which is of the population. There is this need for settlement. There is need for accommodation. This is a big need that we sometimes marry with politics. But if you look at it vastly, you begin to look at the population growth, so a mass, and then if we don't equate it, we have professionals, like the need analysis that have been discussed. We look at the public procurement, we have the private, the re-centered pool to you, which is the builders, the architects, the engineers, the quantity surveyors, is the need for satisfying the population in terms of shelter.
Talking about shelter.
Yes.
I will have to shift the microphone back to Mrs. Adenio. Maslow's theory of needs is hierarchical. And when you talk about needs, I'm sorry I'm trying to be gender sensitive, but at the same time, need has no, don't let me positive theory that I cannot prove. But I was going to say that need has no gender coloration. And I would like to be disproved here. And so, talking about disproving need, we need to establish a need, according to what we have agreed, all of us have agreed, that there must be a need for procurement can come up. But you know that need varies from individual to individual, and perhaps from female to male. What exactly is the need for us to procure as it concerns construction? Thank you. Or project development.
When we say needs, we are saying what are the things that we want. When we say needs, we are saying what are the things that we want, what are our priorities. We have to itemize our problems, and then we now prioritize according to the most essential need.
What is the most essential need now?
Yes, I'm coming to that. If I come to Lagos State as somebody that has identified their problem, I'll be talking about the things of the Lagos State government. Okay. But because you have put this to me that in this institute, in this conference now, I will be saying housing. Housing.
Thank you very much. I've succeeded in making you to lead us to where we are going.
Okay.
I want us to put our hands together. Housing. In procurement, the government enacted the Procurement Act 2007 and 2011 as amended. Not yet. Okay? I'm glad I've been able to get that from you, that not yet. But interestingly, it's been affecting some of the provisions in the 2007. But it's okay. Now we are talking about housing. And so there are rules guiding the procurement of housing. Someone, I don't know how it's been proved. Thank God we have professors in this room. My chairman is a professor. I was told that the housing deficit some 6-7 years ago was 17 million. And ironically, I heard it again last week that it's still 17 million. Does it mean we have not been procuring all this, not been solving this problem? And so, procurement regarding housing, we have the budget monitoring and price intelligence unit of the government. Pre-qualification. I'm taking you to pre-qualification. Now we are very much into procurement now. But there are certain issues that we really need to address. And then, sorry, I'm going back to him. Sir, do you really think we need this pre-qualification and all the conditions that are given in the Procurement Act? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Let me say emphatically, yes. If we do not need pre-qualification, there will be no reason for any of us to be gathered here as leaders. It means anybody can do anything. And so once there is a project, anybody can apply for anything. Pre-qualification is a selection process. And that takes me to why I opted for it. I had started out as a civil engineer, but I narrowed into building. And in those days, when in the university, everybody is eulogizing his own profession, I tell my colleagues that as long as you go to bed with your wife, I have a job. Because when the child comes out, 1 bedroom will no longer be enough.
Please, I want us to take note of those words on marble. Words on marble. Once you go in to meet your wife, I have a job.
Certainly.
All right, go on, sir.
Because like you said, Maslow's hierarchy of the shelter is the second of the hierarchy. And so builders have no business with unemployment. Because the housing deficit is enough to keep us engaged and continually.
That was it. How many really is the housing deficit?
Well, it's a mantra. Today we are saying 17 million. But that figure of 17 billion, like I told an audience in the US a few months ago, is that the definition of a house in the UK, in the US, in the Western world, is not exactly our own definition. Perhaps, if you go to a slum in Nigeria today, people are living in houses, isn't it? And they are there with their families. As far as the UN Habitat is concerned, those needs are non-existent. And so because they don't qualify as habitable homes under their own standards. But you and I know that many of us are sleeping and waking up and going to school and going to our offices. So, pre-qualification is a way of removing the chaff from the wheat. And I must stand bold to say that under the Public Procurement Act 2007, which I have been privileged to be one of the first set of directors, and we midwife it up to maturity, that to the extent that now we need some amendments which have been held up in the National Assembly, but this government intends also to push through those amendments which you mentioned. It's such that we want those who are qualified, have the experience and the capacity to carry out the procurement, be given that procurement to carry. And how would you know who has the capacity?
How would you know who has the capacity? Let me go to you, sir. How would you know who has the capacity? Especially in this climate, where I can come in as a big man, and I'll say, well, give it to this person, give it to that person, because there are certain grants that I am expecting from that person. And after your submission, we talk about corruption. You can't talk about procurement without corruption. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, like the pre-qualification, like it's stated here, is a process of selection. I think we should look at it from its importance than from the time of the process of the pre-qualification. Because if you look at the time it spends to qualify a contractor, it takes a very reasonable time for us to be able to come up with what we are looking at.
And a lot of resources are put into it.
Yes, a lot of discussions are put into it. So there is a lot of gain to that time required to go through that process. Because at the end of the day, we're looking at achieving a purpose, not just a house, but a habitable house, like my colleague has said here. Now, during the pre-qualification, there are a lot of things that are required to be met. Is the company registered? Do they have an address? Those are critical things that need to be noted. Do they have a bank account? A banker? Those are little things that you have to look at. So first of all, we should be able to identify this entity. And that's what pre-qualification will do. That's one of the first things it will do. Now it begins to probe into the quality of the resources, human resources, the technical aspect of their capacity, their ability to maybe carry out the project required. So they are going to probe into all this. By so doing, the process will be able to identify whether they are equal to the task. That's what the pre-qualification will do. Let's see whether these guys can actually, do they have the capacity? Can we identify them? Have they been able to carry out this particular work before? So by so doing, that process will eliminate those that are not able or that are not capable. And then they will say, okay, these are the ones who need to invite.
Thank you very much. In all of that, what we are trying to look for, we are looking for a competent leader. In summary, not a competent builder. Madam, in this plan, looking for a competent builder, there are so many compromises that comes up. So much of it, and all that. Sometimes, most of our political bigwigs, and I put that in parentheses, they want to give out jobs where they can go back or they will be returned and all that. My experience in that office for a brief period made me to understand that it's a very dangerous office. I said it in my training when I was giving out my training. and all that. Will you think that with that in mind, we'll be able to actually pick the real competent builder? The search for the competent builder, do you think is a mirage or is achievable in this line, looking at our society? Where your mother, your father, your husband will tell you, this woman, I beg you, if they want to chop, let them chop or leave them. And yet, you are responsible for taking decisions. Over to you, man.
Thank you, sir. In recent time, I would say that is gradually fading off.
Really?
Yes, it's gradually fading off. Procurement, because in Lagos State we hold a lot of sensitization programs for accounting officers. In fact, this new regime, when they came on board, there was another sensitization at the retreat they had before they were settled in the office, and they all know that procurement should take due diligence. Procurement has come to stay, and for any project that is going to be awarded, there must be due process. And due process, when I say due process, even if names are suggested, you still have to take them through the regiments. If they qualify, fine. If they don't, there's nothing you can do about it. So I would say procurement in Lagos State has gone far beyond that.
Procurement has gone far beyond that. I think we need to agree on those conditions as given in the Procurement Act. The Budget Monitoring and Pricing Intelligence Unit gives some conditions, and I want to review them out so that we can disagree to agree on them. If there is any need for us to make an amendment, we go ahead and suggest it. I'm sure this gathering will suggest it in the what we are writing down. The community, thank you on that. The first thing here that the big publication exercise requires is that one, business must be registered, evidence of incorporation of business name. And that scores 0% on that scale. And anything that scores 0% means it's compulsory. Okay, it's rated at 0%. Company registration with Federal Ministry of Works in relevant category, 0%. Audited account of company for 3 years. And evidence of tax payment clearance certificate for 3 years, while the non-must-get criteria are graduated as evidence of financial capability. You agree with me that sometimes when you want to get some of this stuff, you can ask a friend or somebody can load your account with a lot of money. And that happens. Am I right that that happens here? How? You have to be part of the discussion. Am I right that that happens? Or are we afraid? The FCC is not here with us. Yes. We must have evidence of financial capability and banking support. That's what 15%. Experience and technical qualification, 25%. I am also aware that if you don't have the professionals on your board, you begin to inaugurate emergency board members. And that's where the professionals come in. You have engineers, you have builders, you have architects. And this big man politician who has money setting up a construction company will begin to run after you. And some of us will begin to tell them, okay, I will just give me ₦1 million, and that will be enough. You agree with me that that happened? True or false? Let's be confident in our response. True or false? Okay. Capacity of company in terms of equipment and technology. Annual turnover 5%, and the remaining is 10%. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to corruption. All over the world, Nigeria has been rated as being corrupt. And I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to start with you, madam.
That's a very difficult question. But let me say that
the structures and facilities to restrict corruption is available in our country, just like in any other country. And let me also say that there is no country that corruption is zero. In my capacity as Director of Procurement, I've had instances to hold meetings with the Director of Procurement of the World Bank in Washington. And the situation of corruption is part of what we discuss. So even at that level, at the world level, there is corruption. But what we are saying and what we do say is, to what extent does it hinder the realization of the objectives of the funds allocated?
Now let me answer that. You have just raised an issue, and I want to share the thought of Olawepo with you. In 2016, he said, the hardship faced by many Nigerians is simply as a result of the fact that almost every one of us, I repeat, every one of us, including you and me, I'm glad to let you know, my audience, including you, every one of us benefited from the cycle of corruption. The bricklayer, the plumber, laborers, tilers are all complaining because building construction has slowed down massively. Why? Because thieves no longer have money to spend on real estate. When I say thieves, in parentheses now, you got billions from bank without collateral. Using your political influence, put half into your business and spend the other half on exotic cars, jewelry. Your business employs 100 people normally. That is corruption.
Because most times when professional bodies are talking about such things, they don't, especially our moderator has been so direct. We don't talk about it this way, we try to paint it. And it's unfortunate, if you keep on painting it, there is no solution. So let's just talk about it. Thank you very much.
Let's go there. Let's talk about it.
All of the questions have been answered. I'll just go straight to an advice for us, because I am in a position that I see what happens when you send out tenders for people to respond to. I would just advise that in a tendering exercise, after the advertisement, the tender document, which is the bidding document, is only speaking into three parts. The first part is speaking to the competence, the information about the contractor. The second aspect is talking about the MDAs or the client's requirements. And then the third aspect is talking about the general condition of projects, the specific condition of projects, and other forms like the institute forms and what have you. Because when we talk about the lowest responsive, we are not saying because it is the lowest price. We are saying lowest responsive. After the person has crossed over the technical aspect, then that is when you now look at the financial aspects. It means whoever has gone passes the technical aspect, then you now look into the person's financial aspects, and then you now decide. Of course, you know if the person is underquoting, because there are benchmarks for these different items, so you will know. So the point is, let us be careful how we fill our forms, and then we will get a better result. The formation of a contract starts with the advertisement. In the advertisement, usually you will see that there are some criteria that are already written in the requirements. If you don't pass that first stage, that means automatically you are out of it. Then the second stage is the tendering process. when you collect those forms, like I said, the meeting document, make sure you go through properly into the sections and the parts, and then answer it to the best of your ability. We want to know what the financial capacity you have, your competence, the previous job you have done. And then at times we investigate all these documents that are sent to us. You may not know, but we do some investigations too. We want to know if you are actually hooking up these stories or you actually did the job. Then after that, during evaluation, the criteria that are embedded in the bidding document and the one in the advertisement are what I usually use to decide if this person is actually competent enough to have this job. And then at times we do site inspection. We come to your site, we want to see the equipment and what have you that you have reported that you have. And on the last note, I will say that professionals, we see this, and I'm trying to implore you that don't give your certificates to big bags for money. Because at times you call some people and they will tell you, I just gave it to my uncle because he said he needs it somewhere. So please try as much as possible to avoid this. Thank you very much. I'm happy and delighted to be in this space. Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you very much, madam. So in all of it, there are just few words that we have put everything into, and I want to just read it out to you. Number one, we all agree in this hall that procurement is not necessarily buying items. It's not only buying and selling. It's not. We agreed. Number two, we also agreed that there must be a budget. Number three, we also agreed that we must read and understand the Procurement Act for us to be able to understand what exactly it's all about. And number four, this is very clear, and everyone agreed on that, and that is bribery and corruption is regarded by us as synonymous with construction and engineering projects. I also want to give my parting shot, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And my parting shot is just this short story of a young man. A man who has been enjoying life for so long. The man is so corrupted that his life is an embodiment of corruption. So one day, he was visited by death. And when death got there to his house, death has been going around. He has the list of those who was next on the list, and it was his turn. Death got to his house. And he felt that he could bribe anybody. So he became so hospitable. He gave them everything. He gave them beer, gave them drinks, food, eat, and all that. And part of the drinks he gave to death was fully laden with alcohol. And death took it. And death slept off. So the man now accessed the list that was brought by death. He found out that his name was next on that list. So he changed it and took it to the back, to the very last. When death woke up, he said, my friend, you have been so good. Every place I've been going to, nobody has been this hospitable to me. And so I am going to help you. Instead of going to the next person, I will go to the back to go and start. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I want to appreciate you. Permit me to appreciate Mrs. Bola Adeniran. Thank you very much. Please let's give a hand of applause. I want to appreciate you, sir, Mr. Terence Aki Kano. Let's put our hands together. And of course, because you are at home, I want to appreciate Dr. of Palua. I think we can shake our hands. I'd like to shake women with 2 hands. Thank you very much.